Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. This is part 1 of a 5-part series. In this series, I want to be talking about the history of Kings Island. We're going to start with the 1970s, move to the 80s, then 90s, then 2000s, then 2010s, and to the early 2020s. Now let's talk about the 70s. So, Kings Island comes from the old Coney Island that used to operate up near the Ohio River Valley. And the reason they decided they had to move the park was because of flooding issues and also the lack of land to expand the park. So the owner's son decided we had to move the park. In comes the Taft Broadcasting Company, the original owners and founders of Kings Island. The owner's son needed funders for this new project, so he went with the Taft Broadcasting Company. Then Kings Island opened on May 27, 1972. Kings Island would open with very few rides and would grow very much over the next few years. However, Kings Island had great attendance in its first year, and especially on opening day. As you can see, Kings Island always had one thing though. They've always had their 1/3 scale replica of the Eiffel Tower. And they decided that they needed this, and they've kind of modeled the part of Kings Island after France. That's why they have the Eiffel Tower after Paris and France, yeah. And then there are 3 opening day roller coasters. One would be the Racer. The Racer would be the tallest and fastest of these 3 coasters. The Racer is one of the 2 of the 3 opening day coasters still operating. This is a wooden roller coaster built by PTC. Same with their other still operating wooden roller coaster. But this is definitely the marquee attraction of the new Kings Island, and is credited for restarting the roller coaster wars. Next is Woodstock Express, but when it opened in 1972 was known as Scooby-Doo. Kings Island always had Scooby-Doo in the park and Hanna-Barbera since the opening years, until Cedar Fair took over and they lost all the rights to all of it. And the only roller coaster relocated from Coney Island was the Bavarian Beetle. The Bavarian Beetle opened with the park and is the only opening day roller coaster not still operating. This was torn down after a 90-year-old man broke his neck on the ride. Kings Island also wanted to use this land for expansion. They would also relocate many flat rides to Kings Island, such as the Grand Carousel. The Grand Carousel is the oldest ride at Kings Island. Next, they relocated Shake, Rattle, and Roll from the old Coney Island. Kings Island started with 2 new roller coasters and many relocated flat rides. There were other ones, but Shake, Rattle, and Roll is probably one of the best, and it's hard to believe that this ride has been open since the early 70s. Next is the Scrambler. The Scrambler also was relocated from the old Coney Island and now operates at Kings Island to this day. The Scrambler is pretty enjoyable, but isn't the best ride. And if you didn't really know the history, you probably wouldn't know that some of these rides opened at the original Coney Island and didn't open at Kings Island. Most of Kings Island's flat rides actually come from Coney Island, not their own park. They didn't build them. Next is the Monster. The Monster also opened at the original Coney Island and was relocated to Kings Island. This is interesting because the Monster is actually a decent ride. And the first roller coaster that Kings Island would open in the 1970s was the Screamin' Demon. The Screamin' Demon was revolutionary for the time, and as looping and launch roller coasters became all the rage. This was built by Aerodynamics, and this would start Kings Island's relationship with them. This is one of the best.
Kings Island dares you to come face to face with the Beast. The Beast. 7,400 feet of unrestrained terror. In a 70-mile-per-hour attack on your senses, the Beast throws you screaming through 3 tunnels, takes you higher than any other coaster. Come face to face with the Beast. The Beast. The biggest, baddest, longest, fastest coaster in the world.
That was a TV commercial for the Beast. The Beast opened as the world's tallest, fastest, and longest wooden roller coaster in the 1979 season. The Beast is no longer the tallest or fastest wooden roller coaster, but still remains the longest wooden roller coaster ever built. The only roller coaster that ever come close to this length was the Son of Beast, the only other wooden roller coaster to reach 7,000 feet long. The Beast was Kings Island's first monster of a roller coaster, and it's probably one of the best attractions to this.
Shadows of falling darkness, wings of the night creature await their silent signal from the moon. Darting madly through through a starless sky, the frenzied flight of the bat takes you by surprise and leaves you breathless, hanging in midair, captured alive by the bat. Fly the bat at Kings Island. It's a non-stop fright.